Are you ready to scale your note investing business and take it to new heights? Welcome to the monthly Note Investing Mentorship Webinar, hosted by Jamie Bateman and Shante Duffy, your go-to mentors for everything you need to grow and manage your portfolio with confidence. Whether you're just starting out or looking to level up, we're here to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and personalized coaching to help you succeed. In this program, you'll learn how to access capital, secure profitable deals, and effectively manage your investments, all with direct mentorship from industry experts. We'll guide you through every step, offering insider strategies to minimize risk and maximize returns as you scale your note investing business. With Jamie and Shante's combined expertise, you'll gain the confidence to build your business, unlock new opportunities, and create lasting financial success. If you're ready to turn your note investing goals into reality, join us and let's get started.
Welcome, everyone. We are excited to have you all here. Looks like we have a very solid turnout this evening. Shante and I have been doing these webinars monthly. We've done a few of them so far, and the focus, we've changed the topics each month, but the consistent topic is how our Labrador lending mentorship program can provide value to the active note investor. So not to get too far in the weeds on that, but we offer solutions for both passive and active note investors at Labrador Lending, and I know Chris does as well at 7E. So speaking of Chris, we brought in an expert on AI, all things AI. I think Chris and I, we were chatting a few weeks ago, I don't know, a month ago, and you just started going off about the ways you're using AI. And I was like, hold on. We need to capture this. So, yeah, I'm Jamie Bateman. I didn't say that. And been actively in the note space for about 6.5 years now. And Shante, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, you kind of stepped ahead of me in these slides. So
Oh.
this is all about Jamie. I'm Shante Duffy. I've been in the loan servicing space for over a decade now. I've dabbled a little bit in my own real estate investing and definitely need to gain, some more traction there. And I just like gaining more knowledge and sharing that knowledge, which is why I'm here today. And then we're going to go to Chris the Great.
That's not what ChatGPT says about me, and we'll ask ChatGPT about the both of you later on.
Oh boy.
So we will prompt it and see what it says, and see if it's truthful and honest. But hey, everyone, thanks for Jamie and Shante having me here. I'm Chris 70 with 70 Investments. I've been investing in notes about 8 years, been in real estate for 25 plus, and over the last 8 years have bought over 500 loans and currently run a fund that is for both accredited and non-accredited investors. And I can actually talk about it because it's through a Regulation A offering that allows us to solicit.
And you also, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a membership group, I believe, right?
Yes, we do have a membership group as well, which is, I'd say, for people who aren't just getting started, but have some insight, some information, and are basically kind of at the edge of wanting to buy a note. And I use a proverbial, they're staying on the edge of the plane to jump out, and I'm just going to push them out and say, go buy the note. But I will be right there with them on the way down to work with them in regards to making sure that the cord gets pulled.
Yes, and just we'll get into this a little bit later, but we've talked about groups like Chris's on prior webinars, and we think those type of groups really tends to work well with our one-on-one mentorship program. Pretty different from a course or training. We don't really offer a community like Chris does, but we do offer one-on-one mentorship, and we think those two things go very well together. So without further ado, let's get to it.
All right, just the cleaning house section, our overview. We are not lawyers or financial advisors. So any legal advice and things like that, you need to contact an attorney. We strictly provide practical mentorship based on personal professional experience. Just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. And we're going to kind of just dive right in. So tonight it's all about AI and note investing. So we started off basically with what is AI. As most of us do know, and for those who don't, AI stands for artificial intelligence, and this essentially is, as it says, refers to simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think, learn, and perform tasks that we naturally do on our own. It also involves developing algorithms and systems behind the scenes that can process all different information, recognize patterns, make decisions, improve everything over time and through experience, which is
Yep, and
something we're all learning
I
to
just
grow
want
and
to
love.
reiterate something Shante already said, but we do have the Q&A section. If you just joined us, the chat feature is turned off, but the Q&A is where you can pop questions in. And
One
we'll
thing I'll just add to AI is people think this is like some new technology. It really isn't. And a perfect example for that is if anyone is a football fan, how do you think the spreads for a game that the casinos come up with? Now, where do you think that information comes from? It's not somebody in the back, running numbers. It's all algorithm based. It's AI, and they run all the simulations through a model to say, here's what we think the desired outcome is, or this team's favored by 3 points.
I thought it was Roger Goodell on a napkin Sunday morning.
So,
Anyway,
yeah, could be.
all right.
I don't know why this doesn't want to move over. Okay. Jimmy, you want to take this one?
So AI is impacting note investing through risk analysis, AVMs, and predictive analytics. And I'll let you all read the individual bullets there. Yeah. Chris,
Yeah,
anything you want to add there?
I'll just say, yeah, I'm going to throw my 2 cents in on every comment. The thing with AVMs, I would just caution people, and this is a whole caution about AI in general. AVMs is a model that will give you a valuation for a property. It has no idea the condition of that property. It could be comparing it to a new construction, a newly renovated home. Typically, if you can figure out a way to get them to comprise of like REO type assets, that's probably a better scenario. But I always tell people, be careful with AVMs. I think it can give you some basis, but if an AVM says a house is worth 500, I would not take that to the bank.
Fair point.
Good to know. AI also assists in underwriting and due diligence. I'll keep this one short. It analyzes borrower data, real estate conditions. As Chris also just said, though, be careful with that AVM. Due diligence process could basically organize all the data that you're trying to collect for due diligence. As it says, credit scores, things like that. It's also a lot less time consuming, so it should make processes a little bit faster.
Just remember, garbage in equals garbage out.
That's right.
There you go.
Very true. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. I also have a section here for AI and just kind of monitoring and servicing notes. Of course, I had to throw the servicing in there because it's just what I love the most. I haven't played too much with AI in regards to like tracking payments myself and doing certain things here, but we are kind of moving into a newer, more automated process in the servicing world too. So here, there is a few different ways that this is assisting us with automated payments, loan mods, and optimizing your portfolio. All right, we good so far?
Yep, I'm going to be quiet on this one.
Okay. Jamie, we'll give you this one too.
Yeah, so marketing, I think, is probably the low-hanging fruit. That's what kind of comes to mind for a lot of people when we think of AI right now. At least for me, it does, whether it's for note investing or not. And just something I try to reiterate when I'm on different webinars or whatever, but running a note business really comes down to three things. It's finding assets, finding capital to buy those assets, and then managing those two things, managing the capital and managing the assets. So marketing really kind of comes into, as Chris very well knows, marketing for capital and possibly marketing for deals as well. So the marketing can play a big role in the two of those three legs of the stool. And personalization yeah, I guess plays into marketing as well. Chris, anything to add to this slide?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Really, the main focus, I think a lot of people look at it, is the marketing, and that is the low-hanging fruit. But when we talk more about this, and as I show things later on, there is so much more that can be done to save efficiency and, timing of things. And it's going to be, when I show some of the stuff, it hopefully put some aha moments for people to also come up with other ideas. On every person runs their business slightly different. So coming up with ideas of, oh, can I automate that? Or can I have some, get some assistance on that? And, uh, the whole goal of this is not to always replace people, but to be more efficient.
Yeah, makes sense.
Perfectly said. And this goes a little bit more into AI driving social media marketing, which I won't spend too much time here because Chris actually has some pretty cool stuff for us to look at and to see and how to work things through. So I'm going to kind of leave that part here because we'll get to that fun stuff soon.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the whole marketing side of AI, though, is, and for people on early, I joked we're at a video of myself coming in, getting myself a cup of water, and like, is it me or which one's really me? When you get to marketing, it really gets to the point of, is it really that person who's creating that content? And I'm going to show you some stuff today that is, content that's being created instantaneously from AI that we'll get into it, but it's solely driven based off of some of the stuff I've done. But, is it really me?
Well, they
Yeah.
never know.
And a little teaser. This was probably 2 years ago, Chris, when you sent me that audio clip of
Oh,
of something that sounded like you, but was not quite you. So that was kind of scary. So I'm excited to
yeah.
see how
I mean,
far it's come.
yeah. So that even is transposed to this website called Hey Gen. And for anyone out there, Google Hey Gen, HEYGEN, and they're all virtual people on there. And you can do a 5-minute video of yourself and then basically type in anything, and it will basically turn whatever you type into a video of yourself talking. It's actually scary though, because it's still not there yet, but it's 90% there, but it's getting to the point where it's freakish. Whereas literally I could type something and I could be on a plane somewhere, Jamie interviewing me, and I could type the response and it's me saying it, but not actually me saying it.
It's wild.
It's kind of scary. All right. So here are some of the softwares that we are aware of that help us with AI and make things move forward and things like that. I'm not going to dive too much into these because these are actually some things that Chris is going to show us. So, Chris, I'm actually going to roll this over to you.
Okay.
And let you have some fun. So I'm going to stop sharing.
Okay. Well, before you stop, let me just briefly mention a little bit about these.
Okay.
Everyone's probably heard of ChatGPT, which is the main leader. Anthropic and Perplexity are, I think one's Google and one's another basis. They're really versions of ChatGPT, but just different companies. Coke, Pepsi is really what they are. Copilot is another one, which is Microsoft's product, which they just had a major update within Copilot that I'm going to show you what I've created since I spoke to you, Shante, last time, that was able to work. Make.com got revamped from, I forget their name, but it's really an automation system that is pretty cool that I'm going to show. And DALL-E is create graphics. If anyone's seen a photo and all the spelling's wrong on it, that's from ChatGPT. That's DALL-E. So there's others like Flux and some others that are out there that are much better at creating people, except for their fingers. But these are the main ones tonight. We're going to talk about ChatGPT, Copilot, and Make, as well as I'm going to share some Chrome extensions that I actually had ChatGPT build for me. And I am not a programmer, nothing. They literally built. I had them build a Chrome extension that I'll share as well. So whenever you want me to start.
You're ready. I'm
Let's do it.
excited.
Okay. So we'll start with the low-hanging fruit of marketing, because that's always, I think, the easiest one to talk about, which let me just get the right screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'll start with a little bit high level of make.com. And what make does is it allows you to create scenarios. And if, back in the day, there was this website, if this, then that. And this is really what make does, is allows you to create scenarios. And to the extent that I've had it create scenarios, and I'm just going to, share, I'm trying to find one here, and what these look like. Fit. So this is going to look overwhelming, but I'll explain it high level. If I put a link in a Google Sheet, it is going to create a Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and viral hooks post for YouTube, is what this will do. So I have a spreadsheet right here, and I'm going to take this web thing from 10 strategies to succeed in today's real estate market. I'm going to take this link, and I'm literally going to put it in here. And if I hit this run once, and I'll talk while this is going through, it's going through now and creating through Perplexity, ChatGPT, specific prompts that I've created. And when I mentioned earlier on, garbage in is garbage out, that's really what you have to do. Is there's a whole situation out there now called prompt engineering. And I'm hoping this works because it doesn't look like it's running through, but
Hit the run once button, hit it again.
Yeah, let me make sure it's running. But it's really the garbage in, garbage out in regards to how you want it to post, because a Facebook post is going to be very different than a, let's make sure it's running for some reason, because I have it running every day, but let me, it's there, social media, see if it runs. But the, what you post to Facebook versus what you say on Instagram versus what you say on Twitter is going to be very different. And this is not working. See, figures.
So how much, and we won't get into all the weeds, of course, but
yep.
How much time did it take to build this out?
So this took me about a day, is what this took me. And unfortunately, hold on, I think I know why. I think I had too many. There it goes.
Yeah, leave it to Chris to overwhelm the system.
Well, what it is today I cleaned it up and I deleted a bunch of them. But literally, this is the timing that it took the link from the Google Sheet, and basically what it did is took the text from this article, and now it's creating Facebook, Instagram, and posting these back into my Google Sheet. So if I come back to my Google Sheet and I come to my social media post, platform Facebook, there's my post. Instagram.
So it tailors the post to the social media platform.
To the platform, but I told it Facebook is casual, Instagram really casual, LinkedIn gonna be very different. So when we get to LinkedIn, Twitter, with the characters, when you get to LinkedIn, it gives me different options for LinkedIn, but it's gonna be very different compared to how you can do this. So essentially you could take any link and run it through. And there's a gentleman who is in Europe, I can't think of his name, who a young kid, blonde hair, appears to smoke a lot of weed based on how he talks. He runs a course for like $50 a month that literally teaches you all of this. Okay.
And just the link that it's pulling from, that's an article, just a random article.
I actually have another segment that goes and pulls from specific sites like Housing Wire, Bigger Pockets, Real Deal, and it actually gives them a score, an engagement score of 0 to 100, and the higher the score, the better it rates. So I created a GPT to look at the article
Mhm.
and create a score of how I want these scored based on action. Is it actionable? Is it emotional? Is it shareable? Does it answer pain points? What's the content quality? Is it relevant? Is there a call to action? And basically create all of this.
And this is
And
but these are existing articles. So
yeah,
essentially you're repurposing other people's
I am
content.
repurposing content. And this sounds like it's a ton. This literally took me half a day, because what you do is you have ChatGPT create the prompt for what you want. So it's essentially ChatGPT creating ChatGPT, which we'll get to in a second. Now, the other crazy thing, and again, we're just talking marketing right now. So here's easy way that you could take feeds to create, 5 articles, create 5 posts, you're done in a week. All your posts are done. Okay. Now, I am big on Bigger Pockets, the website.
I just think like the biggest.
Let's be honest.
I am not the biggest.
Well,
Ooh.
at least
so-
in the note in our forum, the note
Yeah.
space, you are.
So every post I've ever posted to Bigger Pockets has always been me, my content, never going to move away from that. But what I can do with that is you can take that data and create your own persona. It learns how Chris is right, how Chris speaks. Scary, yes, I know, Shante.
I love it.
But it can basically write like you. So let's take this. So what I did is I took that and I had ChatGPT. I'm like, you know what? Create me a extension that can answer questions based on my tone of voice. So if I highlight this text right here, right click on it and say, answer this question. We need the Jeopardy music or some type
Right.
of theme or something like that. That will come up. Now this is running through, it sends it back through Make.
Okay.
And
That's what I was going
basically,
to ask.
yep. Okay. Gives me a response. And then this is the response. Okay. Now, if you notice, a lot of ChatGPT responses are all asterisks and in conclusion, and it's like so obvious.
Mm-hmm.
But you can train them to eliminate some of that stuff. And now it just created getting involved in rental can be solid investment when you assess cost based on numbers you're looking at purchase. It provides a response that I could look at this and say, yes, this is good. No, I want to change some of it. Is this too much? How do you want it to respond? But
Right.
just another
Wow.
idea of, and this took a little bit longer. This took probably, 5 hours of time to fine tune this and create this. But still, I don't think that's a ton of time. And how much time is this going to save me? I can take any article on the internet and right click on it and say, answer this question. It doesn't have to be real estate. It can be sports. It can be, you name it. Okay.
Has ChatGPT put you in timeout yet for has it caused Bigger
No.
Pockets to slap your wrist?
Well, again, I don't use AI
Yeah.
for Bigger Pockets.
Right.
So the other component that is also I wanted to mention is, let me go to another one is a lot of people will say part of marketing is not posting like on LinkedIn, but it's replying to comments.
Yeah. Engagement.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as part of engagement, let me just here's my LinkedIn. I want to find a post with, that has a bunch of comments to it. Todd Exmeyer.
Jessica, you listening to this? Yeah, I know it's important to engage with especially larger accounts.
Okay. So let's say this article right here. Okay. Talks about interest rates and it's got 11 comments. Okay. I had it create a little bot. Can you see this right here on my screen? It says add comment.
Yeah.
Yep.
My LinkedIn genie goes off and it gives me 3 different comments based on the comments. Fixed rate is king. I love the idea of securing fixed debt in this uncertain climate. It's like giving yourself a safety net. Have you ever thought about how this strategy might evolve with future market trends? Or, something about Trump I'm not going to get into, but with fixed rate debt, you're dodging the unpredictable roller coaster. Are there any particular? This is an engaging post that I can sit here, click, gives a little thing on my screen, and then there it is, and I can comment.
And just that LinkedIn Genie back, that has nothing to do with make.com. It's just a separate.
It actually, all this runs through Make.
Okay.
So it's called like webhooks and all this stuff, which way above my pay grade. But it's called a webhook that takes the information, sends it to Make, then it runs it through ChatGPT to create a response for me.
Okay.
And I can do that in LinkedIn. I can do it in Quora. I can do it in Twitter, X, and I can do it in Reddit as well.
Looks like we do have a question.
Sure.
I gotta find
It's a raised hand. And here goes the question. Also, the question that's asked is, can you also do that? It says also Chrome extension, I believe.
Yeah, so I use Edge, but it's it's an extension that Chrome, it works in Chrome or Edge. So any type of extension, and you can see them up here on my screen: the R, the Q, the L, the T, the A. Those are the extensions. But I also have them pop up on the screen. So when I go over to Reddit, you can see I have an add a comment here, which is different than answering the question. If I go to Quora, and I was bored, so I had them also be the same color as, the background Quora, they all match. Add a comment here. If I go to Twitter, add a comment.
All right, I'm gonna David has a question. So
Yep.
I'm gonna let him talk. Go ahead, David.
He's currently muted, just so everyone's aware.
Well, if you're able to unmute and ask your question, David, or you can throw it in the Q&A. All right, we'll
So I'm going to put in the chat the person who taught me, or where I found out all this information, if I can figure out where the chat is.
Well, it may be turned off.
Oh,
I have it turned on though.
it says hosts and panelists. Okay.
Okay.
I think you can chat. Can people see that? School.ai Jack. Jack Roberts is the guy's name. If you do AI automation, Jack Roberts, and again, it looks like a guy who's 25 that smokes a lot of weed. That's the right guy. So
you paid him to help you set some of this up.
I paid him. He has a membership group for $50 a month.
Okay.
That he does YouTube videos that you don't even need to pay. You can just watch them on YouTube. If you join, he actually gives you the ability to download this whole thing. So I could, like when I came in here, I could import his blueprint and then just edit it the way I wanted to edit it. So he does 90% of the work, but you have to link it to your software and stuff. And again,
Gotcha.
I'm a tech guy, but I'm not a computer tech guy.
Yeah.
I'm an engineer that can find my way around, but this is not.
Yeah, you're not. I mean, we've worked together pretty closely for many years, and Chris is very creative, but also has the sort of math and science engineering side. But you're right. I mean, you're interested in technology and how to use it, obviously, but yeah, you don't have a programming background or anything like that.
So that's marketing. Now, the last piece of marketing that I'll share is software called Gamma AI.
I've used this one a little bit.
Okay, so Gamma AI is, let me switch screens here. So I'm sharing a PowerPoint presentation right now. This entire presentation was created using Gamma. All we did is give it our logo, our font color, our fonts, and the colors we use. And I imported some documents in regards to foreclosure process in Alabama. Okay.
You might need this, Shante.
And
for Alabama.
Oh, wait a second. Oh, hold on. Don't worry. I got you.
Okay.
Okay. Statute of limitations. It talks about the statute of limitations in Alabama. Lost note affidavits. What's everyone ask? Is a lost note affidavit good? Is it not good? Okay. You know, other issues, assignment of mortgages, title curative issues. Is mediation required? What happens if someone dies? Deed in lieu. Talks about deed in lieu, how to get a deed in lieu.
And you pulled much of this information from a different source and then
Correct.
uploaded it to gamma.ai to
Yep,
create
and
this
said,
presentation.
and for my membership group, they're going to see this presentation.
Okay.
Forbearance agreements, talks about forbearance agreements. Pre-foreclosure notices, you know, what's the process? Foreclosure timelines. You know, documents required to commence foreclosure. What do you need? Everyone asks, what do I need? It goes, you know, and I'm not going to go through all this, but, you know, the process, the timing, this thing spits out. You can tell it. I wanted 30, 40 slides. Also talks about other statutes, state statutes about taxes, tenant, title, insurance, late charges. You know, how much can you charge for late? Shante in the servicing industry. Somebody sent me today a very large servicer who had a class action suit for charging too much in late fees and why they don't service loans in New York. So literally, how long do you think it would take somebody to put this presentation together?
Forever.
A day?
Yeah.
2 days?
At least, about a day.
Good day.
Yeah. I mean, with the photos and making it all right. I mean, all the little, you know, if Jess is on
maybe
here.
2 days.
Yeah. I mean, you know, that's a pain in the ass. And even the fact that it took default judgment and used that as a photo.
Perfect.
You know.
So you uploaded like Word documents and
yes, I uploaded some Word documents I had in regards to Alabama foreclosure.
Yeah.
And said, here you go, spit it out.
This is the template that we want you to use, Gamma, and this is our, you know, the general color theme or whatever. And then it spits this out.
I'm gonna have to test this. I like this one.
Okay.
Yeah, I've used it a little bit as well. It's pretty good.
So that's before
really
we jump
cool.
into the next aspect of I'll talk about. I wanted to share this. And did people have other questions?
Yeah, exactly. So for marketing, and again, we said for notes, you know, marketing pretty much, I would say the main reason ends up being raising capital, whether that's for a fund or joint venture or partials or something like that. But also just could be marketing your membership group or marketing for assets. But yeah, any questions on
study? You could throw a case study in Gamma and it spit out a nice presentation for you.
Yeah, people love case studies. Yeah, any questions from the group before we move away from marketing?
You look okay so far.
Okay, so I'll first go to ChatGPT, and then I'll go to my latest project. So let me go.
Latest project.
So ChatGPT. I created what's called a custom GPT, which is you literally can, and if you go to ChatGPT, I explore GPTs, create. Okay. You click create, and then I'll ask you a bunch of questions, how you want to design it, and then you can upload documents.
I got a quick question. Do people, do we need to pay that $20 a month for that extra?
I think you do for this.
Okay.
So,
I was paying that for a while, and I don't know what I was getting out of it, so I stopped paying.
Okay, so you can create, so I created a custom GPT about my fund. So as you can see, it has some standard questions. Can you explain mortgage note strategies? Okay. And this is from my prior presentations. This is from documents we've created and so forth. And this is what it spits out. So
it's your content.
My content. Okay. What is a mortgage note strategy? Performing notes. Who's it for? Examples. Pros, cons, non-performing. Partials. So think about it this. Again, marketing. I want to do a podcast. I want to talk about something. What can I do? Holy shit. Excuse me. Sorry. How much content did this just create for me in regards to, I could take this, drop it into Gamma AI and say, give me some slides on fix and flip notes. Boom, pop it in there. You got a graphic, throw it on Twitter, LinkedIn, whatever, you know, throw it on a site. I mean, this thing's going on,
Still
you know,
going.
still going. I have a lot of content. I've been around a little while. Okay. Now, the issue is, how accurate is ChatGPT? That's always the $1 million question because is it accurate?
Wow.
That is the $1 million question.
It is
'Cause-
accurate. That first sentence is
The
accurate.
only
Yes.
person who could ever surpass
Surpass.
the legendary Shante Duffy. Wow.
So again, garbage in, garbage out.
I knew it.
Nice.
But, you can take the data, take the information, and for example, like we have investor relations, okay? And our investor relations team is what are 70s fund investment returns, tentative returns. Let's see here, comes down. There's our offering. Our Reg A that we have starts at 8 with bonus shares. So Jamie, you have your fund.
Mhm.
You put your
Yep.
PPM documents in here. You have a question. Now you could actually take this, put a link, put it as a little chat bot on your website that people could do. I don't do that. I'd rather have somebody really respond to us. But, it talks about our regulation A, our regulation D, why are they tentative? Because they're targeted, not guaranteed. I made sure we never guarantee anything, and are very specific. But this is,
Wow.
what
Yeah.
are note investing exit strategies? Okay, let's just ask this question. Now think about this for somebody like you or I, Jamie, as well. If we have a membership group, or you have training,
Mhm.
you have certain stuff that people who join, they can, have a little bot that asks
Yeah.
questions that can come up. Okay, you can sell the note, hold it to maturity. Let's see, cons, foreclose, take possession. Now it just provides from all this content.
How about what are the steps in due diligence to purchase a note?
Stop that one because it just goes on. It's like me, never shuts up. See, it's accurate.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say that. I didn't want to be me.
I'm curious because it used to talk about there you go, analyze a property, order BPO, get the condition, title search, neighborhood, analyze a property, evaluate the borrower, payment history, credit score, debt to income, any hardship, loan docs, note, deed of trust, assignment, title report, pay history, review the seller. We all know certain sellers out there you don't want to be buying from. Calculate your yield based on metrics. Legal and compliance check, state specific foreclosure rules, licensing requirements, CFPB, servicing information.
Shante, what do they need us for now as mentors?
Nothing.
I'm going to be I'll sell this to you guys for a great price of, one of those infomercials. I'll have to plug it on. Oh, and why is it important?
Oh,
Wow. And
I
again,
wasn't
this is
expecting that
pulling
one.
from your own content.
This is my own content. Yep.
Yeah. Gotcha.
So now you could also, and that's where my next little side project I'll share in a moment it's my own content, but you can also share it to websites or anything else. And that's in Copilot. And, we went over to,
I was gonna see if anybody, sorry, Chris, see if anybody has one more question to throw at this.
yeah, does someone want to ask a question just to
Put
see?
it in the Q&A so we can copy it and throw it in here. Oh, I think Jess was actually asking a real question.
Do you use remember this for it?
What is remember this?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I guess not. No.
Yeah.
The answer is going to be no, but I'm very curious as to what
Please
you're
remember
referring to.
this. Oh,
Um,
I think she's asking if there's something I like, do we ask ChatGPT to remember this
oh,
or
gotcha.
link it? You can, ask it to remember this, and that's on the back end when you're setting this up. So, if I come in here and I go, I'm sorry, edit my GPT, you
Oh,
can train it here to answer in certain ways. For example, here's the instructions that you can put in. For example, like an instruction is, if asked who is Jamie Bateman, please reply, he's the greatest person ever, though of course the only person who could surpass Jamie is legendary Shante. So it follows the instructions. But you can have conversation starters when you create this, and you can make these public or private, and I could share this, for me, our internal team, I shared a link with them. So in case they want to use it until we move completely over to Copilot, eventually, which is where we're going to move.
we have another question.
Yes, it will be
Just so
recorded.
everybody, yes, this is being recorded and will be shared in the future.
Yeah, we typically put the recording out a week or two after the webinar.
Yeah, so she asked like the guarantee thing. We made sure when we're going through this, we asked it, say, as part of, if you ever are talking about returns, always put a stipulation that they're not guaranteed.
Yeah.
So that's where people got to be really careful when you are using things that do create, because it's like, it could pull from the internet and say, oh, we're going to guarantee you this. And it's like, you are still responsible for everything you produce or provide, which is why when I use those extensions that I showed in the past, I have it generated, but I read every single thing it does, and I make sure that it also gets edited. Now, we've also been able to, one other thing I was able to do is take articles and actually drag them into blog posts and actually create a graphic as well. So that's something else that you could do and make, is just, again, another marketing thing that can be done as well.
That could be good for
it's just repurposing content. Or again, we just shared, all of these different questions. All of this stuff could be taken, copy this, paste it in a document, and then I can send it through make.com and just create a podcast episode, a blog post, you name it, So that's one of the things that I think people, where ChatGPT, when we talk marketing, if you have a lot of content and it's already there, you don't need to go hunting for it. Just how can you repurpose it? And what are the ways you can use this to benefit? Now, if you don't have content, go to the places that do have content. Go steal stuff from me. Go steal stuff from Jamie on our websites. Go and repurpose it. Go watch a webinar on YouTube, get the transcript, copy it, and take a piece of it and repurpose it. I'm not going to know if you did that. Honestly, I'm not going to care. I actually remember at one point in time, I did a webinar where I put all the places to buy notes, and someone just took a screenshot of it and just put it right in their presentation. My logo was still in the middle of it, and I laughed.
Yeah, I've had that
care.
too.
So, that's what's ChatGPT. Okay. Last that I'll share is, so we moved our entire company over to Microsoft based for everything, even our accounting system. So when Shante talked earlier about, looking at trends or histories with payments and stuff, we're not there yet as a company, but that's a place where I'm looking to get to and understanding certain things. And I'm actually working with ChatGPT right now, which is a third-party software that I'm working with that can create your own adventure. So you get to pick, like, I've got it where I have a tape of notes that you pick that note, plug it in to the software, and it'll create your own adventure based off of what I told it. So for example, if it's a non-performing loan with $100,000 UPB and the borrower owes $40,000, what do you think that borrower is going to do, Jamie, at the end of the day if he's delinquent?
Probably file for bankruptcy.
Exactly. So I have it set where 90% of the time they file for bankruptcy. So it's kind of the game where it's like, okay, do you shove foreclosure down their throat, or do you try and work a mod? And it's like, okay, I'm going to shove foreclosure down your throat. And it's like, oh, sorry, you lose because they filed bankruptcy and now you just lost a year, which you could have got the mod for. So I'm kind of creating a little role-playing game as well
So
down the
that's
road.
that kind of gets into the predictive analytics that we were talking
Exactly. So you put in the predictive analytics.
Yeah.
But that's because I have so much data that I'm putting in Microsoft.
about.
What I've been able to do,
Eddie did ask a question, why the move to Microsoft? Just
I've always been a Microsoft person for my full-time. And the issue we were running into was, and every note investor will know this, there's no accounting system that connects with your servicing or how you manage your loans.
right. Yes.
So you're always, if you're tracking payments, you double effort. You put it in Podio,
Yeah.
it's in your QuickBooks.
Exactly.
Okay? You're doing double the work.
Yeah,
So,
that's the biggest. We use Podio, a version. We use Note Rules, which is based in Podio, and
Yep.
there's no accounting function.
Correct. And we outgrew QuickBooks as a company because of our size. So we had to go to something. And Microsoft, their Dynamics 365, lo and behold, has a servicing platform as an add-on. You know, it's an app that you can use that we had custom built for our company. You know, we had it customized, I should say. So now our asset manager puts notes in Microsoft, which connects to the loan details, which connects with everything and anything within our umbrella. And then like emails, you can just drag and, you know, link them so they automatically go into, you know, the area of where we keep track of notes. From a financial standpoint, you know, the reporting's all there. Everything is done in Microsoft, and with, you know, Microsoft now has Loop, which is really cool program. Are people familiar with Teams? Microsoft Teams?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So Microsoft Teams, I created through Copilot a foreclosure agent. So Shante asked me any question about anything foreclosure related.
What is the time frame for foreclosures in the state of New Jersey?
Foreclosure.
How many decades?
You know, I had to pick my home state
Right.
that Jess is going to move to, right, Jess?
Okay. So similar to like I had Gamma AI create the PowerPoint. Now, for example, my asset manager is, if we're looking at a note or we're asking a question about a note, or we want to understand a process, we don't have to go dig out some file somewhere, Google something on the internet, or whatever the case may be. You ask it right here.
And how frequently is this updated?
This is from data that I've compiled
Gotcha.
that I get from a paid source that
Okay.
updates their information pretty much yearly,
Pretty regularly.
I mean, let's be honest, foreclosure timelines really don't change too much.
Right.
You know,
No,
from
I
a
just like
state-by-state issue.
ChatGPT, they said was sometimes a couple years old, you know, but and I think you
Yeah.
may have just somewhat answered
Answered
Chad's
Chad's question.
question or not
Yeah.
answered it, but
I will tell you offline because I don't want it recorded, you know, because it is a paid service and I don't want someone saying, well, you couldn't do that. But
if Chad's asking
so-
a question, we know it's a good one. So
yeah. So ask me something. So let's talk. So I searched, for example, there was a note somebody posted on Facebook about borrower. It was $1 million note with a $2.5 million payoff I saw yesterday, and they hadn't paid since it matured in 2011. So I said, Maryland, what's statute of limitations? If it's instrument under seal, 12 years. You know, I asked it the other day when I was testing it. Florida, here's a process. You know, Georgia, you know, Florida lost note affidavit. Okay, talks about last note affidavits. Okay, let's talk. What is the eviction process in New Jersey? Now, one of the things I'll put a caveat to people to be careful with is if your document is too big, these agents that use can only read so much of a document, which sucks, to be honest. So you got to be careful. So here's the eviction process in New Jersey.
Do you end up knowing the size, like limit of this doc, like what's too big for a document?
It's anywhere from, I think right now they say like 50 pages.
Oh, okay.
Because I tried to do this with our investor relations team to put our TPM and offering docs in there, but our
Too
SEC
big.
offerings like 120 pages, so
Yeah.
it wasn't pulling the right information.
All right, I got a question.
Yep.
You can ask it. Do you legally have to accept payments from the heir
Ooh.
of a deceased borrower?
That probably is not gonna
It's not in his content.
payments from the heir of a deceased borrower. Do you need a state?
Nah.
No.
I mean, you can say Georgia if you want.
Let's see what it comes with.
We've gotten the same answer in 2 states.
Just because it's so caveated. Yeah.
And still
But
foreclosed.
it's
But
also foreclosure.
Yeah.
This is the foreclosure timeline agent. So I'm assuming that
Oh,
whatever
right.
it's going to search for is going to be
Yeah.
foreclosure related.
It
Right.
searched state
little-
statutes, foreclosure, eviction,
Gotcha.
and timeline.
Unless the
Pretty
heir has
amazing.
taken title to the property.
We're running out of time. How much what else
This
do you have?
was kind of the last thing that I
Gotcha.
had that I was just sharing. But what's great with everything in Microsoft is this is pulling from a SharePoint folder that I have. So if I update a document, so one of the things we're working on this week is we rate and grade every one of our attorneys. And on a periodic basis, they can go to an A and F pretty quick, and just
Yeah.
had one.
That's-
And it depends also on the state. So if we
Mhm.
want to know, we're in a meeting and like, we don't have a lot of loans, let's say in South Carolina. And I'm like,
Mhm.
who do we use in South Carolina? And it's like, okay, where do I got to go? Like, and again, where do I store that file? Where is it? I can just
Right.
sit here and say, who do we use in South Carolina who has either an A or a B rating? And they'll spit out their information, probably provide it, the email address as well. I can click on the button and it would open up an Outlook and I could email them.
It's amazing. It's really cool.
We got to switch over to Microsoft for everything.
Well, I don't know about that.
I like it. I think this is actually pretty awesome.
Well, and I do know Microsoft has put a lot of money into developing
Mhm.
AI.
Speaking
sure.
of
So-
Microsoft, Chad has a question. And Chris, have you been able to get Copilot to upload images yet or read all files from a OneDrive directory? He's having a hard time with his.
Okay,
So he hardly
so
uses it.
the images, yes, because I put up like an image of a PNG of some information and it didn't read it properly. The OneDrive, so let me just stop real quick and reshare something. So Copilot Studio, and I'm just going to share this, which is very brand new. So if you go to Copilot Studio, sign in. So here is where I've created the agents under the Copilot Studio. And from there, Chad, I don't know if you're using Studio or regular Copilot, but with the new Studio, which for some reason isn't opening, you can link it to websites or drives. Come on, open. Eddie asks, is Copilot better than ChatGPT? I actually don't think so. I think ChatGPT is better because when I go to my agents, so if I go to my foreclosure agent here, the prompt, and again, the prompt is the key. And Microsoft only gives you 2,000 characters for the prompt, so it's not as good. So knowledge, here I can add knowledge, and I can add knowledge to public websites, SharePoint. So it doesn't look like here yet it can do OneDrive, but we use the SharePoint. Or if you use Azure, again, way above my pay grade, you can link it, or you can just drop files in as well.
I did allow Chad to talk, but now I don't see him. But so I don't know if
He's
maybe
here. He's muted.
okay. Um, any other questions from people for Chris specifically? So it just the three legs of the stool, raising capital,
Hmm.
finding deals,
Hmm.
and then the third one is managing both of those, managing
Yep.
capital, managing deals.
Hmm.
What percentage would you say you're using AI for each of those?
Raising capital, probably managing is what we use it for the most. Now, marketing, yes, we use it for marketing to assist. For example, we send out a weekly newsletter or case study or whatever we do.
Hmm.
We have it kind of, highlighted, but then we're like, okay, we'll put it in ChatGPT to say, okay, clean this up.
Hmm.
Just clean it up. So it's acting as a content writer for us a
Hmm.
little bit. And we still have people, edit it, do a final edit, but, it can create 2, 3 paragraphs that save somebody the brain damage of thinking for 15 minutes on how do I want to say this.
Hmm.
For
Yeah.
us, though, really, I think it's more, we're starting to use it a lot more on it's tough to say because just the efficiency. Like
Yeah.
if an investor asks a question of, tell me a little bit about, your offering stated this, or you had this listed as a risk.
Hmm.
Explain that to me. And it's like, okay, our offering's 97 pages. The person could type in, what does the offering say about this risk? It'll spit it out. And then they're like, oh, okay, now I see the full
Hmm.
context of it. This is
Yeah.
what that means. So
To me, that's
it's,
investor relations, which is part of the management. So, which
yeah,
which truthfully is probably the biggest, most time consuming piece of running a fund
yeah.
like yours.
Mm.
So would you say it sounds like finding assets, which is the $1 million question people always want to know, where do I find notes? Sounds like so far that's the one you use AI the least for.
Yeah, and it's partly because, and here's a secret sauce to everyone, whoever's watching. You know, I know people who will sit there and scour the internet to try and find assets all over the place.
Yeah.
Most people have between 20 and $250,000 to invest. And I tell every one of those people between uh, you know, Dave Polio, some of his tapes that he puts out there, um, and stuff that like you, me, Dave Poots, Paper Stack,
Hmm.
and some of the other brokers like Garnett, Rams, Mission Capital, Phoenix.
Hmm.
99% of the loans I've ever bought are
Hmm.
from those people. Now there might be a broker here and there that sends some stuff to me or whatever case may be, but
Hmm.
let's be honest.
Yeah.
People spend way too much time and effort trying to
Right.
find like this one
Secret
awesome deal,
source.
the
Yeah.
secret source. They
Right.
really don't exist. There really isn't a lot of us,
Right.
just being honest with you.
Sure.
And, I've recently, a month ago, we bought one on PaperStack and someone's like, you bought on PaperStack? I'm like, yeah, I actually buy a good amount. And I'm like, you just got to, weed through and find, what you
Hmm.
look for. And, we don't do land, but there was a non-performer on there. I'm like, okay, we,
Gotcha.
put a good offer in on it and was like, there.
Yeah.
And people think, and I say that because people think paper stack, it's expensive because it's like, it's a one-off. No, it's
Hmm.
not any more expensive than, everybody else. Now, some
Yeah.
people might be a little overboard, but overall, you can,
Hmm.
I actually find it to be a very good source to go
Hmm.
find deals if you need a one-off or I'm like, oh, I'm trying to get 60 grand out the door.
So as we're wrapping up here, so Eddie has two questions. Can we generate documents like this? Um,
Like a low
do you,
modification. This was during, I think, the
we,
co-pilot spitting out
yeah.
the.
So,
I haven't, so if you have templates, and this is again a whole nother animal that we haven't even got to yet, but we can have it where because all of our loan information and data is in Microsoft, if we wanted to do a modification, there's certain things that are standard, like what's the UPB, what's, the note date, like a lot of stuff is already in there. We could actually through, Power Apps, I think is what it called, click a button and have all the data from our accounting system dump into a Word document to fill in the blanks. And then, of course, you'd still have to update whatever the new terms are, but it could almost pretty much eventually, yeah, you can get there and generate a lot of that stuff. Now, loan mods are very challenging because when you do a loan mod, typically the first paragraph or the first page is the history of the note was originated on this date, it was sold to this person, then this person, then this person, then this person, then this person. That's typically not something that I would spend the time to put together on every single loan because we don't modify every loan.
Right.
So that's something that has to be done.
Yeah.
But there's other documents that you could
Yeah.
create, but
I think for someone, even you have a, larger fund, but you're not, a lot of this stuff is state specific. So the use case just may not be there. Whereas like a document custodian, or somebody like that who's producing documents left and right, it makes a lot more sense for them. Jessica sent me a question. Do you use any kind of meeting tools, Chris, AI tools for your meetings to record and then take notes or create action items from your team meetings?
Teams.
Okay, so it's built
Teams
into
can do that.
Teams.
It's built into Teams. And
All
what
right.
Teams can do now with what's called Loop is if you have a meeting, like you and I are in a meeting, and you put the agenda down in the meeting invite, if you edit like an update, a task there, or in Loop or in Teams or wherever it is in the Microsoft universe, it's like what was that? Was it ClickUp or whatever? You know how ClickUp used to update everything for you?
Yeah.
Microsoft now does that. If you edit something in one place, it edits it everywhere.
There you go, Jess. All right. Do we
So,
want to?
okay.
Yeah,
One
go ahead.
last thing I just want to say where I think it's also helpful is in due diligence, a lot of times you get a package and you'll see, for example, again, the maturity date or it's a lost note. A lot of times it's like, okay, I got to go search for that, or am I going to spend the money on an attorney to review it or ask an attorney? Again, I now can type in this question and get an answer that at least is the first. Again, I don't read a lot. I don't take that to the grave, but I'll basically, okay, here's a question. Okay, now I might continue or I might not, but it could save you from doing, additional
filters your questions.
filter.
Yeah.
Yep.
Got it. Shante, do we have a couple more slides to fly through at the end here? Or
They're more just kind of what
just about
testimonials, additional resources.
Gotcha. Yeah. So we have our one-on-one mentorship program. We're not going to spend the time to go into that in detail here. You can check that out on our labradorlending.com website. We've got we currently charge $150 per hour. People ask that question a lot, and Shante or I will meet with you one-on-one depending on our schedules and depending on what the topic is specifically. But we love to share our knowledge and resources and network and et cetera, and trying to accelerate your progress as a note investor. And then, like we mentioned already, Chris has his membership group, which is a monthly. You want to talk a little bit more about that, Chris?
Yeah, it's a monthly subscription, $100 a month. We have bi-weekly meetings where typically it's based off of roundtables like this that everyone gets asked questions and speak, and we go through specific topics. We'll also go through like the Alabama slides. We'll talk about presentations there. And members also have access to my whole gamut of documents that we provide, as well as I have training videos on due diligence, bidding. I've did a 20 course videos on due diligence and all aspects of note investing, where people can also go watch those videos to learn more.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, because a lot of the gurus will claim that note investing is passive, and it certainly can be if you're buying a couple performing notes or something. But the truth is, it's pretty active. So that's what this mentorship and Chris's membership group. That's the client that we're trying to serve. They're fairly different avatars, typically, the passive and the active investor. So,
and I know Chad would say it's passive, especially for the pink princess borrower that he has that is in Ohio. So
all I know is we asked, like, in the Facebook group one time, okay, what happened this week or something, and Chad threw in there something that I don't think I did that much in a year. So Chad's pretty active. That's for sure.
Yes.
Any parting questions or thoughts before we get out of here?
I would
I
just
just
say if people
ahead.
have additional questions or something that I showed, again, because I went through this, again, we had an hour really quick. Feel free, reach out to me. Happy to chat further about it.
Absolutely. Feel free to reach out to us as well. Yeah, and thank you all for joining. I think our next one is going to be in late January, right, Shante?
Late January, we're going to give you guys the rest of the year to kind of relax and start the year off pretty strong, and then they'll see
Yeah.
us again. I want to give a special thank you to you, Chris, for joining us tonight and being our guest. I think you're the first guest on our webinar, so thank you for that.
Well, thank you for having me. And as you know, I love talking note investing and all my little toys.
I'm sure we'll have you back.
Thank you to both the actual Chris and the AI Chris we saw earlier. So
That wasn't AI, that was me. So
well, okay. Thank you, both Chris's.
okay. So that's my twin.
All right.
Well,
Thanks,
thank
everyone.
you, everyone. We'll see you in
Appreciate it.
2025.
Thank you all.
Take care.
That's a wrap for today's episode. If you're ready to take your note investing business to new heights, our monthly note investing mentorship webinar can help you get there. With expert guidance, the right resources, and personalized support, we'll show you how to access capital, lock in profitable deals, and manage your investments with confidence. Reach out and start scaling your portfolio today.